what we haven't said.
Yeah, that's what we're recording.
They can say it for the school board.
Yeah, that the most important people probably are not present. These
I'm
people
recording.
know how we feel.
All right. The camera is running for your doing action. How's the sound?
Sounds good.
All right, first of all, I want to thank you all for having us, and you were great, very gracious hosts. The food was good, everybody was open and cooperative, nobody kind of made faces when we asked hard questions. Generally, it responded to the hard questions with good, solid answers. Not much bobbing and weaving, as they say. I'm reminded that Michelle and I were here 5 years ago, so that's been an advantage because we've gotten a chance to see how things have changed in the past 5 years. And there's a lot of stuff that makes our heart feel warm in terms of the progress that's been made here. So it won't surprise you that the first three things on our good list are Diana, Alex, and you guys. Diana, Alex, and the faculty. You've actually created what some of the folks described as one big family. And if my recollection is correct, we wouldn't quite have said that 5 years ago. We said many good things about it 5 years ago, but the collegiality aspect is a real plus. We're not going to give you lots of little detailed things. An example would be, I said to Alex, you need to have a quick reference for the crisis plan, kind of like a ladder thing, which says bomb threat, and you turn it up because it's a crisis. You need to respond to it. You don't need to say, well, Jane, there were about 6 pages in the manual and we talked about them last August. What did they say? Meanwhile, the crisis is happening. And so it's pretty simple. Matter of fact, when he and I worked together at Green Hill School, and after I left Green Hill School, they didn't have that either. But I made them one. I created them one. Because you need to know where everybody's supposed to be and what's supposed to be going on. That kind of little thing, and I say we're not going to deal with it, I just did. The major kinds of things that I say, we love your school. I'll get to the last part first. We are all unanimous in saying that you need to continue to be accredited, and if it's a warning, it's not going to come from us, it'll come from SACS. And I just don't believe that they're looking that closely. We'll see. We will give you a good rating. Buses. Thank you, Diana, for the bus situation. Parents are very, very appreciative because they said they couldn't come here if it weren't for that. It's a practical thing that makes things possible. School culture. I've done 5 Islamic schools and I'm working with 3 other Islamic schools, and school culture is always a fascinating thing. It does really vary from Islamic school to Islamic school. Also, I do Orthodox Jewish schools, and I did 2-3 weeks apart. The culture was vastly different on the 2 of those. I'm doing Poetry Community Christian School in Poetry, Texas. Where's that? You drive to Rockwall and turn right and drive for about 11 miles, and it's right next to the goat farm. Christian schools cultures vary a lot too. The school culture is really important. It's how you treat each other, the level of respect you have for each other, who you look for in a teacher, what kind of chemistry you want, how teachers regard kids, and so forth. It affects everything from curriculum to personnel to discipline, policies across the board. And the quote that I will use for your school culture is one big family. And that's what I'm looking for when I go to a school. I always look for a community of learners. And it was clear from students, teachers, parents, that you're well on your way to creating a complete community of learners where people help each other out. The new teachers said that we talked about mentors. Some said you haven't had mentors, but basically the whole faculty mentored us because everybody was so open and willing to talk about how things are done here and how things aren't done here, especially the teachers who were not Muslims. Teacher freedom to create. We talked to some teachers, to a lot of teachers, and found them to be brimming over with ideas, and a good professional environment is one that allows them to find a way to teach what they need to teach, and that seems to be the case here. So thank you for that. The students say what they like about this place is the same thing that scares off some students, and that is you get a lot of attention from the teachers. Some students don't want to come here because the teacher's going to be looking down there, looking over their shoulder all the time. They don't understand that it's a good thing, and the teachers are encouraging them to produce excellent work. Some of the chit-chat that you were having with Mary is a good example of having them strive to do better and know what excellence is. And I heard it said that when Alex came in, he said, 100 should be hard to get, which is true. My metaphor for that is not everything deserves a smiley face to come on the refrigerator. Kids need to have some sense of accomplishment when they get an approval, and not just having handed something in. I sense that happening as well. Character education. In looking, the team found it everywhere, found it prevalent, present in most of the classroom settings. It's going on, and kudos to you for that, because it's a big part of the educational package. Areas of concern that we will be highlighting in recommendations, suggestions, and so forth. Some of which were highlighted by you folks, well, the folks that wrote the report, as challenges. The continuing issue of financial stability, not unique to you, common to private schools all over, of all kinds. Are we going to have enough money come in to pay for the things that are coming out? And I had a meeting with Atar last night, and made that, Atar last night made that point again. It needs to be addressed. Even if you're comfortable with a deficit, it's a deficit, and sex gets a little fidgety about that kind of thing. You have a high school that's really still in diapers, but you're doing a good job with a few students starting out, and to keep working on the growth of that high school into something that people around town are going to want to come and be a part of. Space issues. And when you're at a high school, bigger kids, and so forth, they need space, and especially with the programs that you want to do at the secondary level, you need space. Now, in talking to the chairman of the school board and Mr. Taya, probably Dr. Taya, it's certainly on their minds and on the tip of their tongues. But it still needs to be a top priority as to how to address the space issue. Facilities for adding AP classes, science AP classes, science labs, and things like that. I said, when you take all high school, high school is both a money pit and time and energy. In order to do a high school right and do college prep, you have to have highly qualified teachers and so forth, and it doesn't come cheaply. And kind of the gorilla in the room, communication between the school board and the faculty and the school board. The point we made to the president of the school board was there needed to be some transparency. Not that the teachers need to know everything that's going on in the school board meetings. They'd be bored to tears, probably, for a lot of the stuff. But just, there's the concept that here's a bunch of people meeting who have power over us, and they're making decisions that affect us, and we don't know what's going on. Just a little bit of an overview, a little bit of some transparency, some information about what the machinations are. And we made the opposite point, which is that communication needs to be two-way. And we would strongly recommend that there be perhaps a teacher sounding board, maybe 3 teachers that are designated to come to a school board meeting, talk to the issues that are being discussed, and then go home. But at least have some input, because these are the people that are living what they're talking about. And so there needs to be a two-way information exchange. Doesn't need to be comprehensive or whatever, but to some extent, so that there's some shared responsibility for what's happening. That's pretty much it for now. As I say, I will reiterate the fact that we think you're a wonderful school, and you're ending up with negative stuff doesn't mean that that's who you are. It is not who you are. Who you are is a school full of faculty that care about kids and that are working hard to meet these kids' needs, using the resources available to do wonderful creative things, and parents should really be appreciative of what you're doing and who you are, because they have a gem here. Anything?
2 things. One thing, in terms of commendation, one of the good things about being small is that you can do more work with each other, so that you have science and English and social studies and math supporting each other in projects and presentations and so forth. That's a really exciting opportunity that larger schools often miss. And I was excited to hear teachers talking about using that. And so that, I think, is a really cool thing for future projects and opportunities. A second thing, it's been exciting to see the journalism, the drama, the extracurriculars that are becoming more and more available. And when we talk to, all the students that we talk to are involved in some of those. And so that's an exciting thing. And of course, it's one of those things that you know that you want to encourage the kids to get involved in. So that's a super thing that I see happening. One area that I hope you're going to be happy about, that in terms of that we're going to encourage to happen, is to have more things at the school where kids are performing. Because you've got drama that's going to be done, because one of the goals is the presentation of poetry and so forth. Being able to encourage parents to come and see their kids doing cool things, and then to stay for a PTO meeting, I think that can be a really positive change that will involve parents even more, so that they not only think that the school is a good thing for their kid, but they'll have a chance to see the broader picture, that it's a great school, period.
Well, everything that I would have to say would pretty much reiterate on a lot of what was already been said. However, I'm never at a loss for words, so I'm going to give you a little bit of it. From top to bottom, from students to teachers to everyone, we repeatedly heard over and over in the last 2 years, things have really gotten better, and they much of this. And we need to make sure that, you know, there's a few people around here that need to be treasured and let's go into the camera. Should be treasured because in this type of environment, having come from an Islamic school situation, it's really hard to find the people that are committed to the process, can live within the confines, deal with all of the variables and the people and the culture and the religion and all these issues, and still find it in their hearts to work 100 hours for half a dollar. So I want to say that, you know, some of the quotes, I will write this up in some of my stuff, but I want it to be on record, you know. One of the things from teachers, the principal is very aware of what's going on in the education world and continuously sends us articles and emails and advises us to take workshops and helps us, get information. We're given a full range to teach and use different methodologies to help our students achieve. That's good, you know, you've got a curriculum now based on C-scope, things can be canned, yet at the same time, I see the creativity and the flexibility that you can go outside of that and still, you know, stay pacing and stay on task, but you're adjusting to the students that are in your classroom, their levels and what have you. With that being said, one of the recommendations is lesson plans should always reflect reteach and modifications. I'm kind of a stickler about that kind of stuff. I know that you guys are doing it, but I don't see the documentation. And that's something that I always look for, going back and revising. Student quotes. Teachers are approachable and push students to their highest level of achievement and beyond. We're going uphill every year, getting more courses and things are more challenging. And right now I'm talking about high schoolers mainly. That's who we met with. And we're missing the high school experience, especially the athletic part. That's something that as a group, as a community, you've got to champion for. Whatever it takes, you'll lose students, especially boys, that want to go play sports and do things like that. And, you know, you want a school, you want a high school that's preparing kids for college, that's something, you know, it's got your wall of fame that shows your successes academically, emotionally, in every which way, but not full of girls that, you know, people are just hiding from society. You want it full of all the students. You want to attract more boys and girls. You want a diverse group. You want to get the best of the best. And you've got to offer a little bit more to satisfy that thirst. And middle school and above, if they don't have that out, that release, that's when your discipline problems come. And right now you're small and you have a great set of kids. And anybody who's questioning character education, which I saw throughout the school, or anyone who's questioning the discipline of the kids, needs to go take a field trip somewhere else, because this is great. You'll always have kids will be kids, but I found the kids to be very well disciplined. But you're going to grow, and when you're going to grow in those areas, and you're going to have an influx of kids, especially coming in at the middle school level, possibly, or high school level, you're going to bring in kids with a whole lot of ideas and a whole lot of baggage, and you have to be prepared for that. So you also need to find ways to release that tension and give them other opportunities to get out that deviousness and aggression. Okay, and then, you know, going back again, I think your efforts as for the high school are great as far as what you've done so far, and I think it meets your student body now, and I think your teachers are really sharp as far as pulling together and pushing them. Within your schedule, I think you do tremendous, because I would have them here later if it were me. But the kids, you know, they're pleased, and they're pleased. They feel like they're ahead of their peers when they're talking to family members and friends. That's important. They hear from other kids that have tried to come here and left, that it was too hard. I like to hear that. I want to hear that you're challenging them. I want to hear that they're finding that when they get out competition with what else is out there too. You've got the best of the best. You want to make sure you're churning out the best and giving them every opportunity. So, again, you know, recommendation is that, you know, there has to be room for growth. There has to be more science, maybe even another science lab, because scheduling and opportunities to get deeper into those areas, and offering more AP classes or more variety takes more faculty, more resources, more money, more time. And, you know, the kids need to know that a class is not going to be cut because only 2 of them roll over into the next grade. I mean, that's you know, a scary place to be. And with that said, kids also at the high school level want to know where they stand all the time. I'm sure some of you probably know they're pestering you like crazy for their grade. If you're going to use GradeLink, I see what's out there right now, it looks good, but you need to be updating it, because middle school and above, they want to hop on there all the time and know. And the older they get, the more competitive they're going to be with wanting to make sure that, you know, they know exactly where they stand grade-wise. And those kind of things you could change immediately by everybody being on the program. Some teachers are great and some teachers are not. So I think you're headed in the right direction, but accreditation is accreditation. And it's about adhering to some standards, some policies, and continually improving. And you have to be comparing yourself against somebody else and stretching and reaching for bigger and better things, or you're not really achieving, you know, that whole purpose. So that's not in any way to say that you guys are not doing a good job. And with what you have in the resources, I know what it's like to take, you know, like I said to somebody earlier, a pile of dirt and try to make porcelain in an hour. It's hard sometimes. And I applaud the teachers and the staff and even the kids for being creative and being flexible enough to get what they need in the end out of what may not be the perfect road from point A to point B. So keep up the good work, aspire to move forward, don't stop with just because or it is what it is. Keep reaching and reaching and reaching. And like I told the principal yesterday, maybe the parents need to go on field trips to see some other high schools and some other schools, what they're doing, so that they'll understand. They want their kids in the most competitive situation possible. When you go out to high school, or rather to colleges from high school, it's not just all about everybody's lining up with 4.0s and 5.0s and 2400s these days. It's what all else are you offering? So it's a lot of really good students, and you might be the 100th in line for the really good 5 spots. So competition is pretty stringent. Give your kids the best opportunity and the best education you can possibly. It's just one step at a time.
I just want to end by stressing the fact that you are a wonderful school. The things we're talking about here are growing pains. It seems strange as long as the school's been in existence, but you stay at a high school. So you're still in a growing status, and some of these things are just the pains that come from growing the school before you have the space or the faculty or the money, what have you. It's not unusual, but you know it's a struggle, but it's a good struggle. It's a struggle that is worth doing, and so yeah, kind of hold your hands and sing Kumbaya and go forward together, because it's worth it. You know, these kids may not appreciate it right away, but at some point they will.
No, actually the kids do appreciate it.
Yeah, I think they do.
really
They were all
appreciate
really,
this
really
school.
positive about it, and they were articulate, and they represented the school well, and looked to me like they were prepared to be successful at the next level, partly because of who they were, partly a little bit of tip to their parents, but with a big tip of the hat to you guys, because you convinced them that they are smart, capable, and can get the job done. So thank you for that, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.